Okay, at this point, we need to attach this 9-inch to this 9-inch elbow. But before I want to do that, I want to point something out. This is your seam that has butyl tape on it. And because it's a seam, it will make it really hard to drill through. So I always put my seams at the top of the duct. That way, I know I'm not putting any of my takeoffs, which will be coming at the next phase after we put insulation on, and then these will be applied. If I put it here where the seam is, and then I come back through and I'm drilling this hole, it makes it harder to drill the hole. It is possible, but it can be somewhat of a pain. So I make sure my seam is at the top, that way I can put my takeoffs on the side. Okay, so that needs to be on top. Oop, 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 oop. See, I almost broke my rule. I know that that's on top now. And 3. So at this point, and because for time issues, I would be putting butyl tape, and let's also go back to remember all of these have already been pre-done. They're butyl taped, they're mastic, and they look like this. These pieces and this piece. Once I put this connection, I make this connection and this connection, that too will get butyl tape. Okay? So now that we have it at this point, what I do is put the insulation on. This particular insulation, as you can see, it's 9-inch. This is R6, and depending on where you are, what location, and also location of the house. Is this duct going to be in a conditioned space? Is this up in an attic? Is it in a crawl space? There are multiple factors that come into play here. So all of those will determine what the R value will be. In this case, we have a piece of R6, and let's just say we're up northeast on the coast somewhere. Most of those places are going to require an R6 or an R4 in a conditioned space. So this is how this comes in the box. Boom, boom, boom. When we get these are pre-cut at 5-foot lengths. This piece right here was 2.5 feet. But what you can do is, again, to save time ahead of time, you can have all your pieces taped, pre-made, and then you can have them insulated, ready to go. And also, at the same time, since you've already figured out all the dimensions of the lengths of your duct, you know the location of all your takeoffs and the location of your outlets that are in the house, you can come back with, again, after the insulation is on, this with that, and it's sitting on a shelf ready to go. So what I want to show you here too is another little trick to the trade, because let's say, for example, you see this piece here. Like I said, this probably took anywhere from 15 minutes to a half an hour. I can probably do them in about 20 minutes myself. As they start to do them, you'll get faster at it. To do just this elbow, to insulate this, would probably take, again, another 20 minutes. At this point, now that we pretend that we've taped all of our seams, everything's mastic, we need to put the insulation on, and I need an additional set of hands. Sean, will you please help me?
Absolutely. Here?
Yep.
Straight up?
Straight up.
Yes, sir.
So when we order, we'll get a case of this. And in that case, from the distributor, they give us these caps. Do not, and I really, really, really have to say this again, do not try to put this on without one of these caps. If you do not have a cap, come up with another way, which I have taken pieces of Mylar or pieces of Reflectix and made a cap so that this can slide over this sharp edge. So what we have is this. Sean's going to hold that for me. Otherwise, I can do this by myself if this is just a flat piece sitting on the ground, but it's not. So basically, this is how we put these on.
Beautiful.
This will slide down.
Full.
Okay, so let's set it on the table.
Alrighty.
Okay, so this is where I was talking about, this is a time saver. I can take this sleeve, because it's 5 feet long, I only had a 2.5 foot piece here of this 9-inch duct. So I can take this and slide it up further. Hold on.
You got it. Don't rush this. Mickey's making sure that insulation is going to slide right on this baby.
Okay. So what we're going to do, let's stand it back up again.
Stand it up.
Stand it up on the ground.
Yes, sir.
And we need to squish this down.
Okay. You're holding the insulation, correct?
I'm pulling the insulation and the Mylar at the same time. As you can see, I pulled some of this Mylar down. Let's keep going. A little bit more.
All right.
Okay. So now we're past that point. We can remove this. Okay, now let's put this up on the table.
Yes, sir.
Leave this end sticking out. And with that, I can take this and gradually slide this around. And now our insulation has come all the way over. I have just saved us probably at least 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe even a half an hour from having to insulate this round piece. Okay, so at this point, now that we have this done, I'm going to go ahead and continue to put all these parts together. Now that we have our sleeve on this particular piece and it's ready to go, I'm going to show you a little trick that I've learned over the years. Is I like to take this insulation and just roll it back. And it's one for a couple of reasons. One, it gets it out of the way when you're making your next connection. Two, because I'm going to be making a connection here, When I put this on, this gives me room so that I can put the mastic butyl tape on here, and the insulation is not in the way. So I'm just rolling these two ends back, just to, like I said, get them out of the way, make life easier for me working in the future. These are all little tricks that I've picked up over the years. They are time savers, especially when you're in confined spaces. The last thing you want to do is get up there, get ready to work, and the insulation is in your way. This just, again, it's all about saving time. It's all about getting things done with quality and effectively, and doing it at a quick pace. So now this is ready to go. This is going to be sitting up on top of here. Remember, we put our seam right at the top. We're at a point now where we know, we've done some measuring, and we figured out that we're going to have 2 of these takeoffs. And we need to find the location, but there's a couple rules that we have to apply here. From an elbow, or any turning point, transition point, you need to be at least 20 to 24 inches from the center of that point. So, what I can do here, right around here is where my center is. I can come over to here, and this gives me, there's my 20 inch, that's the 20-inch rule. Now at this point too, I also know that I don't want to put these more than, or less than 8 inches on center. So from here, I'm going to put one of these right here, right? So then another 8 inches from there puts me right here. So I'm going to have one here and one here, which I will do now and show you guys the proper way. I'm going to roll this back to me. I know that that's going to put me straight off from a 90-degree angle there. And these just peel off. This gasket has glue on it. It's sticky. I know my location. I make sure, so this is shaped like a saddle. So I make sure that my holes are perpendicular with the duct, and that one goes there. This is one of those cases, remember I've told you that you're buying 3 different size screws. You got 1 inch, 3/4, and 1/2 inch. This is an application where you're going to be using the 1 inch screws. So get it on there. And make sure you do not over tighten these. And maybe I'll even show you what happens if you do. So that's nice and snug on there. So I do the ones across the top first, and I come back over on the sides of the saddle and get those on. So let's just say, while you're watching here, all right, I stripped it out. So that screw is popping out of there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to back it out. I'm going to come back in on a different angle, get a new fresh place to drill. Now I'm back in there, and boom, I've tightened it back up. So it is fixable. The other part that you can do too is making a whole nother hole. Usually you don't have to do that. You can come in on an angle and make that screw go back in. So now that you have it done there, what I'm going to do next is this hole. This is a 2-inch hole. And I need to, right now no air is going to come out of there, right? So what I have here is 1 7/8 drill bit. You can order them. There's a local store that I go to that I buy them at. But these are you have to have a 1 7/8. You cannot use a 2-inch because this is a 2-inch hole. If you use a 2-inch bit, it is going to bore out all of this inside of this takeoff, and it will make it useless. You will break the takeoff. So at any rate, so this is how we do this. Make a little noise here. Bear with me. Okay. So now that we've drilled our hole, there is the metal disc that sometimes will stay on the bit, sometimes it falls down in there. What you want to do, because we're doing this ahead of time and we know where all of our holes are, I can turn around and take this and dump it out, and all the stuff that's inside falls right out of there. So we know that we're going to put 2 of these on. So I have another one here. The other rule, let's just say we have to put another one on the opposite side, right? So you got one here and you got one going here, right? So if I wanted to put another one, I needed a third one. I don't want to have it directly across from this takeoff. So my location, nor do I want to have it directly across from this takeoff. What I want to do is stair step it. Bring it over here, and as you can see, I got one here, and then I would be putting the next one in the middle of those 2. That way they're not in line with each other and causing airflow issues. Okay, so there's that one. We'll get 4 more screws. Come across the top 2 holes first. Over time, you will realize what is snug and what's not snug. You just get a feel for it after you put a few thousand of these screws in. 4 of those. Now you're ready to drill your hole. Your hole is drilled. There's that. The other thing, I'm going to show you another little trick. Excuse me for a second. Let's just say, for example, this is already in place. It's hanging up, or it's in an attic space, or it's in the location where you want it to be permanently. You've just drilled your hole, and you can't just empty this thing out. So what I have here is a magnet. So I'm going to reach down in there, find this piece, and pull it out. The other thing, and then be careful, it's hot. Let's pull the shavings out of there with this. It'll also pull some of the dust and dirt out of there. What I tell our customers, no matter what, with any type of install, whether it's a conventional install or a Unico high velocity system, after the install, you're going to have dust that's going to be in the ductwork no matter what. So after everything is done and the unit is up and running, just let it run for a day or so, or 3 days, something like that, a week, and then change your air filter, because all those particles and all that dust is going to blow through the system, and they're going to blow out into the house. It may get caught back into the return, so you just want to change that filter within the first week of after your system is up and running.